There he goes.
Hey,
Yeah, I wasn't
Johnny!
recording.
hey, Eric,
Now I'm
what's going
Hey,
on, brother?
how's it going?
Oh man, we're gonna have some fun. Trip down memory lane tonight.
Yeah,
nice,
absolutely.
exciting. Is Trace gonna join us there
And
behind you?
you.
Well, as a matter of fact, if you want, she's right behind me over here. She was just finished up with makeup, and
Uh,
you know Eric, right?
yes.
And of course Scott. Now I haven't met Brad. Brad, I'm Johnny. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Excellent, excellent. So this is cool. I love what you guys are doing, and thank you for including me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
definitely. We're looking I was looking forward to you definitely coming on. We
Excellent. Yeah,
haven't
when I heard
chatted
you
in
were
a
part of
while.
this, I was like, oh, absolutely got to do this.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. It's been a
Yeah, it has
while.
been. It
I was
has
like,
been.
I was like, Johnny, do you
On
know
the
Brad
soccer,
and
wasn't it?
Eric? He's like, I don't know, Brad, Eric. I know we've drank together.
Yeah. Yes.
Where did you and Eric work together, Scott?
On
Eric and
Majesty.
I was on the Majesty. He was actually. Now we both know. We found out that we were on the takeout of the Majesty.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Apparently, we were in the same taxi, but didn't know it at the time that we were rushing through Manhattan when we pulled into New York and got released. At like 2:00 in the morning
Yeah.
Excellent.
with
Excellent.
Penny. All right,
Excellent.
well, hey, let's jump in here and have some fun.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
So I'm going to pause for about 3 seconds, and like I said earlier before, I'm same thing. I'll introduce the show, and then I'll chat with Brad and Eric for a little bit, for a minute or two, and then we will slide in, bring you in, and see what's going on, and tell a little bit about yourself and your background, what you did before ships, and that, and we'll chit chat a little bit more for a couple minutes, and then we'll jump into your ship story.
All right, sounds good. I got a couple. So
Yeah,
from there.
awesome. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today's episode, we've got an exciting guest in the house, Johnny Lavanegos, also known as Johnny Vegas. So he is in the house today. First, before we get started, let's check in with Brad and Eric. I can't wait for this part. This is going to be funny. We're going to start with Eric first. Eric, pool. What's going on? Anything with the pool going on?
I was just waiting so you could see Brad's expression, because Brad's expression is like, God damn it, not again. No more pool conversation. But Brad, I'm going to make you really happy. The pool is closed.
Wait.
The pool
No
is
more.
closed.
No more pool conversation until April or May.
All
So
right.
we're good. We're good.
Awesome. Did you at least to get it in it? Was it clean, or did
No,
you
it was
clean it up to
cold.
close?
It was cold. No, it's been like at night it's in the 40s, so or lower
Oh.
50s. So no, I'm not getting in that pool.
Woo. Brad, what's going on up in Faye?
Well, not to bring us down right from the very beginning, but I've had one hell of a day. I've just been reminded over and over how old I am. First of all, I had to go to the doctor.
Is it the back or the knees or?
It's the pinched nerve in my neck. I finally got a doctor's appointment after, what has it been, like 2 months? Had to drive to Elk City.
Okay, for those of us who don't know where the hell Elk City is, how far is that?
Well, Elk City is between me and Texas, halfway between where I live in Texas. So it's way, way out west. It's
About
a
3 hours.
gritty.
An hour, 2 hours, how far?
It's about an hour and a half from where I live. It's about the same distance to Oklahoma City, but I refuse to go to Oklahoma City to the doctor because I just don't want to be all around these, all the germs and everything.
Right.
But of course I get to Elk City and I'm just in this huge waiting room with all these old people just hacking away.
Did they not have masks on?
Very, very few.
No?
Very few.
Oh man.
Oh, no.
We're
This is
in a
Oklahoma.
state
This is
here where
Oklahoma.
they don't care about the mask.
Right.
Yeah,
This
but
is Oklahoma
even
where-
okay, I'm in Tennessee, but now things have gotten better where when I go to the grocery store now, the majority of people have masks on. You'll get a few people here and there, but the majority have it now. Whereas even like 2 months ago, no, I would be one of the only ones, but now it's really flipped.
No. And then not only that is, I go to the doctor and of course, I don't actually meet with the doctor. I meet with a nurse, and of course she's like, "Well, this is what happens when you get old." And
Was she hot?
she was hot.
Yeah. Oh,
I think I
hate to
want an
keep
exam.
I hate to keep objectifying women, but I still do it. And she was my age. She actually said, "Oh, we're almost the same age," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, you're holding up pretty good." And unlike me, who's in constant pain all the time. And not only that, this last weekend I lost my tooth implant. This is a thing that they screw into your head.
How did you lose that?
I managed to lose that. And then while I was getting my implant in several months ago, I lost the crown on the other side.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man.
And they gave me a temporary denture, like for one tooth, which I call my substitute. My substitute.
Yeah.
And I take it out at night or whenever, and of course I have lost it. Cannot find it. I've laid it down somewhere. I can't find it.
So you need a substitute for your substitute.
I need a substitute for my substitute.
I don't think any of this would have happened if you wouldn't have punched the cow in the face.
I did not punch a cow in the face. The cow attacked me. I did not do anything to the cow. Well, I put an ear tag in her baby, but other than that, I didn't do anything to the cow. She was all on her. But anyway, so mess around, and this is getting way too long, but get back to work, and we have no phones. Oh. Nobody can call us. Everybody that calls in to our number, and I'm a brand new agency, and everybody that calls in is getting this. This is not a working number. Goodbye. Click.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
fuck. And so I have just scrambled all day to get these phones working. And then, of course, I get on this, and now my phones are not working here. But anyway, sorry. I've gone on way too long. Johnny, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like this.
That's all right. That's all right. I got to tell you guys real quick, Halloween, you see my Halloween deal back there. I got all my Halloween stuff out. I'm getting ready. The TikTok thing is hilarious. Real quick on the TikTok. I go live on TikTok, and I just I put like a Michael Myers mask like right here in a chair and leave it going for like 3 hours just for something to do. I'm not even in the room. And then I come in like 3 hours later, like 2 o'clock in the morning, I sign off. 7,800 people were watching. Talking to each other, people arguing. I saw him blink. He doesn't have blink. It's a mask. Shut up, you idiot. Like, so I was like, well, I'll do it the next night. 3 nights, I had an average of 4,000 to 7,000 people watching. But today I'm out, I'm gearing up for my Halloween season because that's my favorite season. And I'm getting ready to decorate my yard. And I went out for a bike ride right before this. And I passed by, we have, Johnny, do you guys or anybody, do you guys have big trash in your area where like one day a month you can set out whatever you want to?
Yes. Bulk pickup.
Yeah. Bulk pickup. Yeah. So that is actually the next 2 days. So there's lots of stuff for Halloween people. It is it's fantastic to find a bunch of crap that you can destroy. So I found a wedding dress, full on white.
Somebody threw out a
beautiful wedding dress with a veil and everything that I can't wait to throw some blood and bride Frankenstein it up and stuff. So that was exciting.
I would anti-crab that before you put it on.
Oh, I'm going to spray the crap out of it. Yeah. I may throw it in the water. No.
Wow.
Well, I did go knock on the
know.
door because I was interested to find out why someone threw a wedding dress that pretty in the trash.
Maybe it didn't go well.
They weren't home and the house was for sale, so
yeah, things probably didn't go well there.
No,
Oh
that's
my
probably a
gosh.
divorce situation.
yes.
Exactamundo.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, let's jump
Crabs.
into it. Let's bring Johnny in
Crabs.
here. I can't wait. This is going to be funny, crabs. We'll have to talk about that in a little while. But hey, Johnny, welcome to the show. Johnny Live Gallegos, man, we've known each other. Actually, all of us have known each other for years and years and years and years and years. But we're excited to have you on. Heard you have some great ship stories that you wouldn't tell me or give me any sort of clue or anything. So before we get to that, Johnny, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Tell us what you've been up to for 30 years.
Well, after getting off ships, I married my ship sweetheart, Tracy Birdwhistle. We've now been married 22 years. We have 2 children, Isabella Mia, our oldest, who just turned 17. And then there's Gabriel Maximus, who turned 13 this summer.
Man,
beautiful
that's a
kids,
powerful
beautiful
name.
family.
I was going to say, I just gotta
That's a
love
great
that
name.
Maximus. I love
Yeah,
that
well,
name. That's awesome.
I'm a big movie buff, so I wanted to name him something different, but I got the door shut down on me. I've always been a big fan of like the classic movies, and one of my favorite all-time movies is the movie Spartacus.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to name him Spartacus, and Tracy was like, "There's no fucking way, dude. That is a deal breaker right there." So
I kind of have to agree with her
favorite
on
movies
that.
is Gladiator.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
I always loved the name
Spartacus, dinner's
Maximus.
ready.
So I thought if we could mix that name in there and get that kick-ass gladiator name, I wanted my kid to have like I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.
Okay. So, I mean, which is really cool. But the name Spartacus in my head, every time I think about it, I think of the birdcage. Wasn't the
Of course.
Yeah.
Was it Amador?
Yeah, Amador Spartacus. Or
Oh my
Spartacus
God,
Amador,
he was the best
whatever.
character. He was the best character, especially in the movie. The
My
movie
shoes,
was the best.
My
What's that?
shoes. His shoes. He couldn't wear shoes.
My shoes.
Exactly. It was Hank Azaria.
Yeah, Hank
No afraid
Azaria.
of my Guatemalans? That guy,
Yeah,
remember?
yes.
Well,
So,
Gabriel what's it? Gabriel Maxim.
Gabriel Maximus.
Yeah.
Just that name has so many. He could benefit from any of it. Gabe, Max,
Everything.
Maximus.
G-Max. My sister tagged him G-Max,
G-Max.
which is a very cool name.
Yeah.
So,
He's got to be a movie star. G-Max.
well, he did a little bit of modeling early on and stuff like that. And he actually was in a movie. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Billy Corbin. He
Yeah.
he directed. I think he did the
Smashing Pumpkins?
documentary Cocaine Cowboys,
Hmm.
the original one. And then he did this movie called another documentary called I forgot I'm trying to remember now. God, I can't believe I can't remember. Trace, the movie Gabe was in.
You're getting old.
But either way, it's a really it's a documentary, very funny, done with children, and it was about the big steroid age of Major League Baseball and how it exploded onto like the news, and how they busted up a major illegal steroid ring in Florida, and it involved all these well-to-do baseball players and baseball itself. It's pretty interesting, and Gabe was in it. He had a small role in that. So
Awesome.
Cool.
yeah, very cool. So yeah, I'm living the life of Riley. I'm very happy. Things are really cool. I couldn't be happier.
And I talked to Johnny earlier just to test out audio and video and everything, and found out that he also does. I do landscaping and mowing and stuff. And talking about landscape and mowing, that you said you do that. I actually remember that I was just talking about the bulk day, big trash day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How when I very first started with my mowing, I went around to yards and I collected mowers for free, and I had 12, 13 mowers that I got, and I probably put all together maybe $100 into new spark plugs, power washing, oil, gas, and everything. Sold them all for like $75 a piece. Went out
Nice.
and bought my first 2 commercial mowers. So
Cool.
Well
That's
done,
a good
young
one.
man.
Yeah, very well
Yep.
done.
well, hey, so Johnny, let's jump in. Well, right before we jump into that, I gotta find out, because I don't know you before the cruise ship. So what'd you do before cruise ships?
Well, I'm originally from South Florida. Grew up in Miami. Went to high school there. And Eric, aren't you originally from Miami?
Yeah. And what high school did you go to?
I went to Southwest High. Didn't you go? Was it to? Where did you go?
Yeah. So I went to Belen Jesuit.
Of course,
Yeah.
that's right. I remember that. We talked because when you and I hung out, I think it was on the Sovereign, and I think you were buddies. Another awesome guy, purser, John Murphy.
Yeah. I know John Murphy. I don't know him that well, but I worked with him for a little bit.
Yeah, but I think we partied one night watching the FSU national championship game.
Yeah.
On the Sovereign. So so I grew up in South Florida.
So I would have gone to Southwest if I was in the border between Southwest and Coral Park. So
Okay.
I think I was supposed to go to Southwest, but I didn't. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1986. I went to Southwest. I lived right across the street from Glades Junior High, like right across the street, which was like between 92nd and 97th Avenue, Southwest, between 62nd and 64th. So it was great. I mean, I lived right across the street, so I could wake up, fall out of bed, and go to PE. Like when I had PE a couple times first period, it was great.
So, I mean, I graduated the year before you, but I knew a couple guys that went to Southwest. A good friend of mine who I ran cross country with at FIU is Victor Fleitas.
Of course, I knew you were going to say that. He was like our top guy.
Yeah, so he was a good friend of mine in college. Oh man, did we party it up with him?
Yeah,
he was a blast.
I partied with him too. We all did.
Yeah.
See, class of '85 and class of '86 for Southwest was a very weird. We were very close. We were very tight. It was almost like one giant class. Yeah. So we had a lot of friends that partied that were, that were also involved in sports. I played football and baseball. I was a quarterback. Yeah. So it was cool. I had pretty, it was a fun time back then,
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a typical Miami kid, getting into trouble, chasing girls, getting, the whole 9 yards, playing sports, partying my ass off, Miami's a fun town to grow up in,
It is. It was. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure it still is, but it really was back then.
Well, I don't live there anymore. I moved. I think that's what ends up happening is you end up moving north one way or the other. Yeah. Some people just move completely out of it. I still love South Florida. I love the beaches. Yeah. That's the one thing that'll always draw me here. I think if anything, Tracy and I have talked about if we ever, when we get to that time where we retire and the kids are married and we're responsible for them financially anymore, then we're thinking about retiring like in the Jensen Beach area. It's about an hour and a half north of where I'm living now, and it's beautiful. It's quiet. It's a little bit older people in town, which is perfect. We're getting to be older people, so
that's how I feel about when I go back. I know we turn this into a South Florida thing, so you can edit as we go. But I go back and I just go to the beach. I stay at the beach, and I just love the beach. It's just fantastic. But perfect. I don't enjoy some of the other aspects of Miami now that I'm older. Like the traffic sucks.
Traffic's brutal. Traffic is brutal. Yeah, the food is fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank God, to be honest with you, with Uber Eats, you could really still enjoy, but it takes away from the ambiance. There's things of Miami that, because I love that part of it. I love the live music. I do like you. I hate the traffic.
Do you live in Broward then? Are you in Broward County?
I'm in Broward now. I'm in Southwest Broward. I'm in the burbs. I live in a great neighborhood. It's great for schools, for the kids. So we're good. I'm very happy where we are.
Are you Are you guys threatened by any of this Hurricane Delta coming up?
Not us. No. Not us. But I'm really worried about.
Oh man.
You know who I'm worried about, Eric?
Is Michelle.
To be honest with you, I'm worried about Michelle Benoit.
Yeah, so am I, because here it comes again. I mean, she just went through it.
This fucking year has been so bad at that area, and I guess she must be tired of everybody reaching her on the back end, like, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm worried about you." She got lucky that one time. I mean, they took a hit, but she got lucky. Her house was safe. But if they keep coming like this,
well, this
is another big one. This is another really big one. Yeah,
I was reading on this earlier today, and it exploded into a Category 4. They said it's a 99% chance that it's going to be a Category 5, and of that chance, there's a 95% chance that it is going to tip at the very end of Category 5 and become the first Category 6 ever.
Holy
which is going
it's on its way to hit Cozumel and like Cancun,
right?
Yeah. That's where it's headed right now, as a Cat 4. So a Cat 4 in Mexico is that's gonna be rough.
It's a Cat 4 there. So once it gets into that Gulf and picks up more steam,
all that
I wouldn't doubt what Scott's saying. It's going to be. So I'm worried. I'm worried for her. I got friends in Texas. I got friends all over Louisiana, North Florida, Alabama. It's bad.
Well, we've got family in outside of Houston, like Kemah, down there. So, it's with a storm from 4 and above. It doesn't matter where you are. It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And they were saying that storm surge is supposed to be like, at least a 12 inch storm surge, or 12 foot.
Yeah, not 12 inch.
But we're like,
yeah.
All right. Well, hey,
Anyway.
let's switch gears here and let's get into some ship stories. I've been excited to hear Johnny's ship stories. He's got a couple of doozies. He wouldn't even tell me about it or give me a hint. So, Johnny, it's up to you. You got the stage. So, just say your name, and this is my ship story, and let's check this out.
Okay, my name is Johnny Laviniegos, known to some as Johnny Vegas, a nickname that was given to me many years ago. Kind of going back to what we were talking about, being where I'm from is very pertinent to the first story, which is it's a little bit tame, but it's actually still a very good story. I grew up in Miami. I went to school, Florida State, graduated in late '91, and I had a corporate gig for a little while. Didn't dig it. It wasn't really for me. And I was a little bit of a lost soul. So I left that gig, well before having a job, kind of stupidly, and was kind of like nomadic. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do in life. I was doing whatever, just to kind of fill time. I was smart. I saved some money, so I was able to do that. But I was, doing silly stuff. I was bartending at the time just to kind of survive. But I have a little bit of a theater background, and a friend of mine at the time was the manager of human resources at Royal Caribbean. Her name was Gina Bean, who later married, and her name is Gina Bean Diaz now. And she was a very close friend of mine from high school, and she worked for Royal Caribbean. And her boyfriend Rob, her husband Rob, got married, and they had asked me if I would sing at their wedding. I used to sing a little bit when I was in high school. So I did, and it was in front of a lot of people, some people that she worked with at Royal Caribbean. Had a few drinks, got on the microphone, and I was, just very comfortable. I sang, I was funny. It's one of those weird things. I wasn't planning on it, wasn't, expecting it. And I killed it in front of a lot of people. And some people were like saying, God, us being in this business, you should really try, getting on ships. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know what the hell's going on in my life. That might not be a bad idea. So, and Gina was always on top of me, telling me, if you don't know what to do, this is a perfect thing to do. Get on ships, go out, see what's going on, save some money, come back. Maybe you might change, how you see things, So, it took forever and a day for me to get an interview, because, to be quite honest with you, I didn't have the background. I had a degree in marketing, but that doesn't do anything for you in the cruise and entertainment department. No. I wasn't a classically trained singer or dancer, so I didn't have that on my resume either. The only thing of interest for them at the time was the fact that I spoke Spanish. And I wasn't a bad-looking guy back in the day. I know I don't look as much now, but back in the day, I wasn't too bad to look at, so that didn't hurt either. So
he was wait a minute. So I could remember back then you were like a Greek god, or like a.
I was gonna say, I thought you were very cute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, listen, trust me. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna be fucking doing the Macho Man tonight.
He was a competitor. Like we were like, you'd move on a girl, and if Johnny would walk by, that was like, we're like, fuck.
So thank you very much. You guys are way too kind. So at any rate, my friend Gina finally got me a interview with the guy who ran cruise programs. He was a manager of cruise program, a guy named Dave Vanderpass, who ex-cruise director. Yeah, really cool guy. Ex-cruise director.
Was he a cruise director?
I believe he was an ex-cruise director with NCL. I believe him and Peter Compton were ex-cruise directors from NCL. I got to know their family very well through, I don't know if you know Bull, Bard Lervik.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bull, that's Peter Compton's nephew. So,
get out of here, really?
Yeah, very cool. Very good people, very, very nice people. So I got to know a little bit of their story afterward. But Dave Vanderpass was the guy. And so I finally got an interview with him. What's interesting about this was the date. I'll never forget it. It was December 11th, 1992. And the day, I know, and I'll tell you a little bit afterward. So I go in for this interview, and it was an afternoon interview. And in Miami, Derek, you're going to know this as well. The interview was set for like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No. So to go all the way, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So to go down, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, holy Christ, I got to go through all that. Whole 9 yards, not, dressed up to the nines with the suit, the whole 9 yards, had a great CV. I thought I presented myself well. The interview actually lasted from like 4 o'clock to almost 6. We closed down the place. A lot of people had left, and during one point in time, he'd taken off to go get some coffee. And the dude had a stack of CVs of, resumes with pictures. I mean, like, 8-10 inches tall, full of like, and I looked through some, oh my God, I looked through some of them, and I think some of the people ended up coming on ships later on that were just, beautiful singers and dancers. And I'm looking at them going, there's no fracking way I'm going to be able to compete with this. I don't have anything what these people have. Okay? I mean, you thought I was a Greek god. You should have seen what these people on the CV look like. It was, you remember? I mean, these are people that ended up being crew staff.
Yeah, so, like Phil Van Vleck and that type.
Oh, yeah, you remember. They were all fantastic. And those guys were already on ships before me anyway. So I'm talking about like the people that came in roughly around the same time, 92, 93, 94. Yeah. But so at any rate, I thought the interview really went well. I was very excited about it. So I get off. This was before cell phones too, at least before like the big cell, the bricks. Yeah, I was before that, just a little bit before that. So that night I was getting together with my buddies because the next day was my birthday, December the 12th, and that Friday night was the one night that my best friend Lou Duva was free with another buddy of mine who we worked together at the same bar. You probably know, Hooligans on US 1?
Yeah.
I bartended there right before I got this job. So, and you remember, it was a crazy year. 92 was the Andrew as well. We went through the hurricane. So I went out that night, and fellas, let me tell you, it was, I was going to turn 25, and me and my boys went out, and we got epic that night. And we lived in Miami. So I'm going to leave it to your imagination that I lived in Miami. And if you know maybe a little bit about me in my party days, I lived in Miami. And there were some illicit materials and substances that were out there. And on a Friday night, on the night of before your birthday, and your pals, you're going to partake. I didn't think twice about doing that because I just figured, I remember when I left Dave Vanderpass, I said, listen, I got to tell you, I got a lot of people looking for the gig. The reason why I'm talking to you now is because you speak Spanish, and it just so happens it's the busiest time of the year, but we're set. We got everybody we need. If we need you, I'll let you know in a couple of months. But listen, I really like you. And I was like, I felt good, when I walked away. Didn't think anything of it. Went out, got totally fucked up. I mean, anything. I felt like Jim Morrison. Anything my friends gave me, I did it. Didn't even think twice about it. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't that reckless, but it was Miami, so you can imagine. Put the two and two together.
Yeah.
So epic night. Go out. We hit it all. Started hoolies, drank, girls. It was just fantastic. I'm sure a strip club may have been involved. Late. 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Terrible time. So I wake up the next morning. It was roughly about almost 8 o'clock, about 8:55, and the phone rang in my house. And I was just startled that anybody would call me at that time because, nobody, and none of my friends are over at that time on a Saturday morning. So I looked at the clock, and I picked up the phone, and I'm like groggy, and I go, hello. And the person on the other side says, hey, Johnny, this is Dave Vanderpass from Royal Caribbean. I was wondering, when you said that you'd be available at any time, did you really mean that? And I looked at the phone, and I stopped in myself. I said, my friend Duva is a fucking asshole for doing that to me, knowing full well that I'm going to be like all juice. And I am like, Duva, you fucking asshole. Don't ever call me this early in the morning ever again. Hung up the phone.
Oh, no.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds later, the phone rings again. And I'm like, dude, is my friend brain dead? But then a cold feeling came on me because this was like in the beginnings of the caller ID. And so I looked at the phone at the caller ID, and I didn't recognize the number. It wasn't Lou's. It was at 305539. Remember those days? The 539 number from Royal Caribbean? And I was like, oh, fuck. I pick up the phone, and just the nicest guy in the whole world. He was like, gave me a little chuckle, said, Johnny, do me a favor. Hang up the phone, get yourself a cup of coffee, and call me right back. It's very, very important. I need you to call me within the next 10, 15 minutes. So I did. I got up. I made myself a little cafecito, dude, as you know, and I got my Cuban background.
Yeah,
made my cute
cafecito, for
coffee.
those that don't know, is a really little shot, like an espresso, but like a little shot, and it is the strongest thing that you can find out there drink wise.
But
It's
sweet.
super, yeah, but it's super strong.
Oh.
Like caffeine, like that'll wire, yeah, that'll get you wired.
It's like Turkish coffee, but like sweet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
without all the like the bits and stuff to it. It's a little bit more refined on that aspect, but it'll get you torqued up pretty good,
Yeah.
So I had my coffee. I called him back, and he just laid it out to me. And he says, "So listen, I got a problem here, and I was wondering if you were really serious. Are you ready to go at any time?" And I said, "You bet, I'm ready to go right now if you need." He goes, "Good, because this is what I need you to do. Get a pencil and a paper and write this down. I need you to get a pair of white shoes, a pair of white slacks, some white shorts, some socks, blah, blah, blah." He went through the whole 9 yards. He goes, "I want you to go to this place over here, which is Uniform Ideas," or whatever the hell that place was on Northwest 36 by the airport. You remember? I think there was one of them
ours,
there.
Yeah, the one that I went to was in downtown in like shady, like Biscayne
It was
Boulevard.
next to
Well,
the
maybe it
black
was
market
there.
flag.
You know
Yeah,
what?
it
Maybe
was
you're
shady.
right.
It was
it
like,
was because it was shady. I was
Yeah.
very fortunate. I had a friend of mine, actually, like a girlfriend of mine, who actually, I called her up and I said, "Listen, I need to get this, and this, but I can't drive. I need you to, help me out." But before we get to that, after he gives me the whole list, and he goes, "Once you've done that and gotten this, okay, they'll give you everything that you need to have. And they'll get it ready for you in time. You just need to be at the Sunshine Medical Center by 4 o'clock at the latest, so they can do a quick physical for you. And
Take
in
your
that
pulse.
physical, you're going to take a drug test." And I said,
Oh,
"Okay." I said, "No problem." I said, "Okay,
Do
great."
I have to
and I
pass
start
it?
to go. So I stop. I've written all my everything down. I've written everything down perfectly, and I'm going through everything. And then I get to the last part, and it says, "You got to take a fucking drug test." And I'm like, I was not expecting that phone call that early.
yeah.
So I got everything I needed to get real quick. But the first thing I did, we stopped at a place called, what was it? What's that place that does the GNC? I went to GNC.
Oh, yeah.
And way back then, they didn't have all the crazy stuff that they have now.
Yeah.
They had this awful tea that came from, I don't know where in the Orient, but somewhere. And you're supposed to brew this tea, and you drink a gallon of this stuff.
Oh.
And you supposedly pee out
To lose it
everything,
out.
including all your gallbladder gets peed out. Everything goes, and you supposedly will pass the test. So as I'm running around doing all this stuff, I'm like gurgling down this stuff, and it is god freaking awful. It's the worst thing. I gag just thinking about it. It's the whole thing. It was like a terrible experience. So got my shoes, got this, got that, got the whole 9 yards, got to the pier, did the test, got through, got past, got on board, and then the first person that I met on the gangway was the crew purser, and that crew purser was Gary Davies. Gary Davies was the first person I met, and he was fantastic, young. He's a smart ass, so he was even more of a smart ass because he was young and cocky, So, but great guy, and that's how I started. My first day on ships was the day before my it was my 25th birthday. I signed on December 12th, 1992, on my 25th birthday, and. And it was great. I mean, I got on the Sovereign of the Seas. It was like fantastic. It was of the 3 big ships, which you couldn't beat. It was it was fantastic. Just great day, great experience. So I'll never forget that day getting on ships. That was actually pretty funny.
Wait, so you did this in one day?
Yes, in one day. That's one of the things that helped me actually for later, because he was like, he didn't think I was going to be able to make it. And I told him, yes, I'll do it. And I did it. I got there and I made it,
That's
Wow.
one of the best.
I did a week, and
ever.
And that was like crazy tight for me, but I can't even imagine a day. That's insane.
The only thing that was a little bit rough, I was able to fit into the blue jacket. You remember the blue, like the double-breasted blazer that we had with the crown and anchor? That was not a problem because everything relatively fit like to size. But the pants and stuff that they gave, they had your waist size and stuff, but the lengths were off.
Right.
So, and they told me like, hey, you'll have a guy, there at the, what do you call it, the dry, the what do you call it, the laundryman thing.
The laundryman, the Chinese laundry.
Exactly. Somebody will help you get all that. And I got some clothes ahead of time. And, I was lucky with as well with the tuxedo that everything actually fit. But yeah, no, I made it in that day. And it was a whirlwind because I got on and I had no idea. Like I cruised a lot as a passenger. My family, we always loved cruising, and we knew, like I saw Ray Rouse as a cruise director, Greg Maxwell, the Dodson brothers when they were, before they were like, I think when they were on the ACD days. But so I remember,
I just knew Kyle Dawson. Who was his brother?
Kevin and Kyle, they were, exact twins, and they had a fantastic act.
I just knew who's the sister, Leanne. I think Leanne Givens was his sister, Kyle Dotson's sister. It was either Kyle or it was Kyle Dotson. Leanne Givens was his sister. It was either him or Jeff Martin, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Jeff Martin. I think Jeff Martin's sister was Noel, yeah.
Yeah, Noel Sippos.
Right. So, Noel Sippos. I remember Noel.
Sippos is his last name. That's the family last name.
Yeah. I remember when you said that, that shithole costume place where, because it was a nondescript in a 1970s, strip mall with a door that just said, whatever.
Yeah, it was, if I remember correctly, it was near the Omni. It was like right near Biscayne Boulevard and like Northeast 2nd and like Northeast 2nd or something like that.
Was it Uniform Ideas or something like that? Or is it called something like that?
I can't remember.
Something like that.
I think you're right. Uniform Ideas.
Yeah. For some reason, I've got a funky knowledge for like completely useless stuff.
So you walk in and like you would think, even at the time, there was I don't know, however many cruise ships, probably 5, 6, 7 cruise ships. And you would think a multi-billion-dollar company would have a nice uniform store, but you walk in, it was a mirror door. You walk in and there's one guy like, what do you want? And, like, I need this and I need this black shirt. And he would give you this box of stuff. And it was just, it was really seedy. And it was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah. That part was weird. I thought it was kind of cool, it kind of put me through the gauntlet, and I think I gained some points with him because he was very good to me. He gave me like very favorable schedules. He always kept his word, and I love that about him because my biggest problem was, I think I had some good chops. I thought I had what it took to get to higher parts. But I had a little bit of a big mouth and, a little bit of a hothead, thought a little too much of myself at the time. Like, I'd love to know me now. Back then I'd be like, dude, fucking take it easy. You're being a little bit of a jackass,
Take it down a notch, right? Yeah.
You know how it is. So, but he was a very, very, very good guy. And I really appreciate, like, he always kept his word. But I think, doing that and being able to, cause I bailed him out, they had somebody who was supposed to go on the Sovereign, and I don't know what happened. He must have crashed and burned. Like, they put him on because usually they'll give you a chance.
He probably drank the wrong tea.
Well, who knows? He went on and he crashed and burned, and it was a good team, dude. I mean, Paul Rudder was the cruise director, and he just moved up, I think, within the last year or so of that, I think. But he was very, very organized. Knew his shit. And we had a strong team. We had a lot of good, crew staff, youth staff.
I remember
it was one of the 3 big ships. We had the best of everything,
When Johnny, when I met you, I think I don't think it was the Majesty. I think we met on the Monarch, and one of the main things that I remember on the Monarch was when they had the sumo wrestling came on, and
I remember that.
And they, we set them up, opened the boxes and stuff, and I can't remember who all was there, but it was whoever was around from the crew staff and a couple of us. I got in at one, and we had to try them out, and we were just beating the shit out of each other in these big sumo, headbutting each other just to see, how much you could feel in it and stuff.
I remember those were problematic. Somebody broke a leg in one of those. I don't remember if it was a guest or if it was a crew member trying it out, some of the staff, but somebody ended up breaking a leg in one of those, the fat sumo suits.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I never, of all the times that I was involved in that event, nothing bad came about it. But I was, kind of that was the one thing I thought that was a little bit crazy for the cruise line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go, but I mean,
Well, just the liability part of it. Just
the liability part of it, but dude, it was crazy. People would go, they'd pack the place, and you know, get them in the Finian's Rainbow Lounge, and they're torqued, dude. That place was packed.
It was funny. I used to watch it, and it was really funny because I would go in just to watch it because it was always hysterical watching these people in those suits.
A cruise director like Jeff Martin agging everybody on and like, come on,
yeah,
run and jump on him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great way to get those. It was those middle lounges, because if I'm not mistaken, we did on at least on the Sovereign when I first was on encountered sumo wrestling. We used to do it in the Finian's Rainbow Lounge on deck 7, if I'm not mistaken, because you had that big. It was like a bull ring. You had a bull ring of a dance floor.
Right.
And I think that's where we used to even do the part of the captain's cocktail party was inside there, you know. We used to do it in the 2 lounges or whatever. Yeah, that's what we normally would do. I was surprised again that we did it because of the liabilities. I thought that was kind of crazy because Royal Caribbean was in that moment when Royal Caribbean started running. You know, they had 3 big ships that were cool, mega. We were pushing the envelope in the whole cruising industry. Everybody had to kind of said who are these guys? We got to start, you know, ramping up, you know. Everybody, you know, got wind of it, and you saw like all the new ships that started coming out afterward, you know. So yeah, that was cool. That was some crazy shit. The sumo wrestling was nuts.
So Johnny, I think you have another story for us, don't you?
Well, I've got a really.
I mean, that was a great story joining the ships, but now you're on ships. So what happened?
Okay, so I got a great ship story, and a lot of it has to do with, you know, when I was on ships, one of the reasons why I wanted to get on ships was to get away, kind of find myself, but I wanted to chase skirts. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to taste life, you know. So, you know, I was a little bit of a madman with the craziness on ships, you know, with chasing skirts. But I also became very serious. I met the woman of my dreams on ships. You know, she was my best friend of all time. She's just an awesome person. If you know, a lot of people know her, Tracy Bird, west of Laveniegos. She is just an awesome human being. But we were young and crazy, and we worked together on a couple of ships. We started off on the Monarch. When I started getting moved up, you know, to ACD, that was one of the things that Dave Vanderpass was very good with. He would always try to make sure that Tracy and I were on the same ship together. And usually, you know, back in the day, they didn't really give a shit about that. They would tell you, unless you were married. If you were married and you were a cruise director and a hostess, they would say, well, okay, well, that makes sense. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I would always tell Dave, look, Dave, you know, I'm serious about this girl. And it was kind of crazy because I was a player. He's like, come on, dude. You know, you know, and I'm like, no, really, I'm very serious about this girl. Please do everything you can to get her on the ships. And he did, dude. He moved heaven and, you know, and water for me. So we ended up working together on the Nordic Empress. And we worked for one of the great all-time cruise directors, two great, in my opinion, 2 great cruise directors, Kurt Detweiler, and then of course the great Ken Rush. You guys know Ken?
Ken, yeah.
Ken. I mean, Ken is, you know, larger than life, and he was a wild man. He was crazy. You know, he was like, hey, just do your job. You know, I don't care what you guys do. I don't care how crazy you get. Just do your fucking job. Don't get me in trouble. You know, don't make the cruise director staff look bad. So, my wife and I were, we were, as usual, we were all partying with everybody and, you know, doing whatever it is that we do on a formal night, what have you. And I think we ended up doing some type of activity where her and I closed the night. You know, we had to wrap up. I was the ACD at the time, and I had to do my final report, and she came in with me, and we were, you know, we were a little tipsy from the, you know, from the disco. And if you know the Nordic Empress, our office was right next to the hotel director's office, which was Al Martin at the time. And luckily, I don't know, again, if you know Al Martin. Al Martin was like, he was an early bird. He was very, very structured in what he did, and he was very strict. And, you know, you respect him, but he was quiet. You know, he was more quiet of a guy. He didn't go out and party and stuff. He did his job and all that kind of stuff. And he was bed early, so we were fortunate that bit. The only problem is that Ken's usually not just so happens this is one night that Ken was like, I'm going to bed a little bit early tonight. Johnny, close up everything for me, blah, blah, blah. So we're closing up, and, Tracy and I were a little bit tipsy. Tracy specifically was I'm going to put this all on Tracy. So I'm doing my report, and Tracy starts getting in my ear, nibbling and stuff, starts playing around. And I'm like, come on. Listen, I said, come on, let's not get crazy. Let's go back. Well, just give me 10 more minutes and we'll be done. We'll be finished. I'll be finished with this report, and we'll go. And she's playing. She's like, nobody's around. It'll be fine. Don't worry. Come on. So I'm like, there's no fucking way we're gonna do anything crazy. Not in the office right over here. We're right next to Martin's office. There's no way. Just in case, God forbid, there was an emergency. Had to come. No. We have to have something with the door. Cruise director's office. So Tracy and I busted into Ken Rush's office, and we just had one of the absolute great love-making sessions right on the cruise director's desk, looking at that screen, that Crown and Anchor blue screen on ProRite. Remember ProRite?
Yeah.
Right? That was like ancient. And so it was crazy. It was funny. We laughed. We got out of there. Of course, we cleaned up. We did everything right. We made sure everything was fine. We didn't want to completely disrespect. The next night we had an activity, and that activity was one of the activities that we did, and Tracy and I was running it. We were on the Nordic Empress, was the Newlywed Game.
Uh-huh.
And both Tracy and I were working. We were in close proximity on stage with Ken doing what we do. And Ken asked the proverbial question, where's the craziest place you and your husband have ever made whoopee? And the first people that started laughing before anybody else was me and Tracy.
Yeah.
And we made everybody else start laughing. They're like, what the hell do you guys know? Everybody started laughing. Ken was like, what do you guys know? And I'm like, dude, you do not want to know. So Ken Rush, 30 years later, now you know why Tracy and I laughed the way we did.
Now
the secret's on the Nordic Empress.
The secret is out. Everyone will know. The world will know in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I hope.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
I love my wife, by the way. I said, listen, I asked permission. Can I tell that story? It's a great story. And she goes, okay, but don't tell him anywhere else, okay? Anything crazy like that. So let's talk about some of the other crazy places. Now, is that a question you guys ask?
No,
Where's the craziest place that you guys have had sex on board a cruise ship? Because let's face it, for me, when I went on ships, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to taste all the fruits of life. Right? Come on, fellas. You want to bite right in the apple of life and just go, fuck yeah,
So it's funny because as soon as you started telling the story, I started thinking to myself, we need to start asking all our guests, where is the craziest place, and if they'll answer, the answer. If they don't, we'll cut it. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so far, Stevie B and Eric had at different times the same deck 10 secret balcony.
I know that balcony.
Yeah.
I know that balcony.
Stevie B, the good thing that you could tell that story because they've already, God, I can't believe they scrapped the Sovereign and the Monarch. I'm completely heartbroken that it'll kill me when they do the Majesty, but it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But but that was a great place. That was one of those really hidden places. And luckily, when I was on with Stevie B, I was already, pretty laid back. I was already with Tracy, so I was pretty solid. But he told me about that place, and I was like, "That's good to know." Just in case.
I have to say that on the Majesty, I must have christened it because it was before the inaugural cruise that I had sex on that balcony.
So how did you find out about that balcony?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember how we just like, where does this door go? I was with, again, this girl. I was like, where does this door go? We opened it. We're like, what the hell? There's this like miracle balcony here in the middle of nowhere that nobody knew. So we just like, okay, well, this is as good as anything. I had a roommate at the time, so I didn't have my own cabin, and she had a roommate. So, we just were walking around the ship and found a place, and there you go. That was it.
Listen, those ships, especially if you guys were fortunate. Both both you and Scott were on the new build for the Majesty. Brad, what ships did you work on?
Oh, I was on the Song of Norway. I was on the Viking Serenade. I was on the Legend of the Seas, Sun Viking.
And Majesty. You did Majesty with me.
Yeah, I was on the Majesty.
So you're fortunate. You got to see a lot of the different kinds of ships.
I was around. I was on ships for 10 years. Yeah, but I was only on Royal Caribbean for 5. And then was off to Renaissance for another 5.
Yeah, I did.
Three with Renaissance. I did a couple of really janky charter things that isn't a whole other story.
Gotcha. That's what the things that we do for money. The things that we do for the money.
Well, it was all about the money because I was home and I was broke.
See, that's the thing. To me, that's one thing, like when I bartended for that short period of time, I learned a lot just about life, about people, about that mentality, that bartender and waitress type of mentality that, especially as a bartender and at Hooley's, I mean, Eric would tell you, Hooley's is a kick-ass place. We make great money over there, but you get that bartender's mentality. You make $350 in a night cash plus whatever you made. So what do? You do like what me and Dube and my buddy did on my birthday night. You just go and you spend $300 and just go wild. Yeah, drinks for everybody, you know? It's the same type of thing on ships. You save all that money you don't have to pay rent. So you go off, you go on your vacation, you blow it on, you're like, hey, give me another contract, or whoever it is you guys had to call, give us another contract right away. I need that money.
I came back. Every time I came back, I was almost every time until the very end, I was broke by the time I got back to the ship. I mean, literally broke. I was on my last dollars. That was every contract.
I think I told this story, but I was on the Viking Serenade with a good friend of mine, Dan Ray. We'd been on ships on the Song of Norway together. And I had just sold my house in Oklahoma. So all of a sudden I was flush. And we're like, hey, let's go to Australia when we get off, because we're signing off about the same time. So when I signed off the Viking Serenade, Dan and I went to Australia for a month. and just blew it all.
That's the way to do it.
For a month, and it was worth it. I'm sorry to say. I wish I had that money back now, but man,
no, you can't.
But here's the thing:
change those
when you check out, Brad, you can have those memories. That is cool. Like to me, those kind of things, like somebody who jumps on a plane at the last second or says, "Fuck it, let's go for a month and just let it all out, let our dick out. Let's just fucking go off."
I mean, who goes to Australia for a week? I mean, what kind of weak ass vacation is that?
It takes a week to get there, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no,
hey, Johnny, any other stories, or because you were after you were on the ships and stuff, you did some art auction stuff, and you I'm sure you were on just Royal Caribbean. You did multiple ships.
I was very fortunate that way. I worked at Royal Caribbean from 1992. I moved up to assistant cruise director in '95, moving around a little bit. I was very fortunate. I had some cruise director who was very, very good to me, helped me. Guys like Kurt Detweiler, Ken Rush. I worked on ship. I was trying to work my way into, one of the really sought after cruise director spots. I mean, ACD were hard enough to come by. It took me a few years to get to ACD. Back then, especially, it wasn't like you couldn't fall into a job. You couldn't just walk into an ACD job. You had to earn it. Somebody had to will it to you, whatever it was. And the cruise director spots were even that much more difficult. And, it wasn't open to women. It didn't seem like at the time. I'm glad they changed their ways afterward, because there were so many great, women cruise directors that came about afterward. But it was a very, very difficult, and it was an all boys club, that you had to fight through a lot of the crap to go through. So I was moving up at the time, and they let Dave Vanderpass go, like in '96, and it was right around the time he was telling me, "Listen, one of the cruise director spots is going to be coming up soon. You're definitely up. You're up for it. We've got some ideas for you, and we want you to do some things for us." They ended up having me do a cruise director gig for an all Spanish speaking charter on the the Nordic Empress with Ken Rush. Ken Rush and I were dual cruise directors. He was doing everything in English and I was doing everything in Spanish, which was everything live because everybody was Spanish. It was cool. Got to meet Pele, the soccer player.
Oh wow!
Wonderful.
Oh, wow.
So here I was, I was like really, really psyched. And one of the things that Vanderpass was telling me, hey, they're talking about doing a specific cruise that might be perfect for you. With the I think they were going to put the Nordic Empress in San Juan. And they were going to do 3 and 4 day cruises out of San Juan. This is like in 96,
Right,
96.
right. Yeah, I remember
I think they ended up doing it.
Did you know where San Juan was at the time?
Oh yeah, dude, I was on the Monarch.
Okay.
So,
all right.
so exactly. No, but it was perfect for me. I spoke Spanish. I love Puerto Rico. I loved the Caribbean. So, and I wanted to be a cruise director so bad. All of us did. So Dave Vanderpass kind of planted that seed. Like, look, if your time comes early like that, it'll be because of that. So I was all psyched. I was all juiced up. Vanderpass gets let go, and they promoted somebody else to the position. And the other person came in who was, had a good background, knew what he was doing from a perspective that he'd been around Royal Caribbean, he'd been around new builds and stuff. But I didn't know the guy at all. And he was a well-known dude, but I didn't know the guy. The guy didn't know me. And, to his, be fair to him, he didn't need to come through with the promises that Dave made me. And so what they asked me to do was they asked me to be the assistant cruise director on that same ship. And they asked me to do it for Lori Rizzo, which, to be quite honest with you, was very fair. Because Lori Rizzo was a long-standing ACD. She'd been around forever and a day, a hell of a lot longer than me. If anybody deserved it perfect, I thought, you know what, give it to her because she did her time. I just didn't think she was ever interested, remember? Because she was... I don't know if we can talk about it. She was Ray's girl, you know what I mean? So I always thought that it was going to be, Ray was the cruise director. I was his assistant. I thought that's what she wanted, and fair enough. That's what she wanted to do. I just felt, and because I was young, I was a dick, I was full of myself thinking, fuck that, dude. I don't want to do that because I'm going to be somebody's lapdog. I'm going to, again, bust my ass and make for somebody else. And the other thing was this, I think they should have put somebody with her that worked with her, that knew her. It was an important part for her. Yeah. Putting her with somebody especially somebody who wanted her job. I didn't think that was smart. I would have never fucked her over, even though I didn't know her. I never worked with her, but I knew who she was and I knew she was awesome. I knew she was like the top dog, of the ACDs at the time. So it was more than fair. I just didn't want to wait. So, I had a friend of mine who worked in the he was a diver with Royal Caribbean. His name was Ian Wilson, and he had moved over to do art auctions with a company, one of the first 2 companies called Fine Art Sales, Fine Art Sales International or something like that, or Incorporated. Called FASI was the acronym, and he was telling me, dude, you should really look at this. There's really good money in this, and I saw it when it first came on a couple of ships. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand it. I didn't really pay attention. I thought what they were talking about, like, dude, this sounds like nonsense. Everything sounds so much, why are they selling it so cheap if they say it's worth this? That was my whole thing, But, I saw people buying stuff, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. So I run into my friend. He's been doing it now for like 6 months, and he's kicking ass. He was on the Sovereign. And he goes, dude, I'm going to show you one of my paychecks, and I guarantee you after you see my paycheck, you're going to want to call my guy. And because I told him the story, I said, him and I were supposed to get together, and I just had this meeting with this exec over at Royal Caribbean, who told me this, and I was just totally deflated. I hadn't said no yet, but understand my body. He was telling me, dude, I don't know you, so you have to prove yourself. This is a perfect way to do it, which I'm sure he was right. But I just didn't want to. And so I meet my friend. I tell him what had happened. He's like, dude, you don't need that. Come and do this. You'd be perfect. You're good on the mic. You speak Spanish. You're good at sales. You understand that that's what cruise directors are, supposed to do, like push sales. The same thing, but it's all you're responsible. Just this one activity, and your hours are spectacular. You work nowhere near as much as you would as a cruise director ACD, and you get your own cabin all the time. Everything's great. I'm like, yeah. So he goes, it's just, dude, trust me. You see my paycheck? I said, okay, ask Clown, show me your paycheck. Dude, he showed me a couple paychecks. they look like a couple of telephone. They look like telephone numbers with a couple of a decimal point. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're making this money?" I go, "How many hours you work?" He goes, "I work 3 hours, 4 hours when I do the auction. I do my hours at night, and after that, I do whatever the fuck I want."
Wow. Yeah.
So I called his boss. I called his boss and I said, "Hey, this is blah," and he said, "Come in for an interview." I had a great interview with him, and it was good. And I told him what my situation was. I said, "Look, I'm very conflicted. I love Royal Caribbean. I'm so close. I'm right here, but I don't know if I'm going to get there." And on top of it, this guy's, telling me, and I even asked him, I said, "Listen, when I left that meeting at Royal Caribbean, I asked the guy, I said, listen, since I'm not going to get my shot, and I go, could you do me at least a favor? And can you put my girlfriend on the ship with me? Tracy, she's been with the company a long time. Serious, He goes, "Are you married?" I said, "No, we're not married." And he goes, "Are you engaged?" I go, "No, not yet, but I go, so the only request I have," he wouldn't even budge. She's like, not even to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to fuck this, this guy probably got some tough news on him. He was expecting this. Let me give him a bone." Anything, wouldn't do it. So I told when I was telling my buddy about it, and I reached out to his boss, he said, "We actually welcome couples. We want you to, we want you to be happy. We'll pay for all their travel, we'll pay for everything. Now, when it comes to making the money, we'll show you how it's done. You're going to be the one making the money because you're going to be making enough money for the both of you." So we listened to it and we're like, I love this pitch. I believed in him. I talked to Tracy. I said, I'm going to try. I think I may try this. I said, "I'll let you know." I said, "I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't want to, but this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm thinking about." And she's like, "I just want to be with you." Because at the end of the day, I wanted the girl more than I wanted the position. You know what I mean? I'd rather, and it worked out. At the end of the day, it worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. I picked a girl and it worked.
That's awesome.
So how long did you work as an art auctioneer?
About probably about 3-4 years. And,
wow! So you did it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was a tough thing. I went on when they first put you on. They put me through the training, and I killed the training. One of the things they put me on was they put me on the Norway. Me and 2 other trainees went through the training, and it was in November. I was off on vacation at the time. I'd signed up to Song of America, so it was November. And the idea was to train for a couple of weeks, and then go on the Norway for a week, and then make then see how it goes, and then they would let you know if you made it, if you had the job. So I did all that, and I figured I could still do this on the quiet. Royal Caribbean doesn't need to know shit, and I can. I figured I can even get on the ship and sail, get a free cruise on the Norway, and see if I like this before I tell Royal Caribbean anything. Mm-hmm. So went ahead. I went out on the ship. I did very good in training. I already had mic skills, so I killed it. It was kind of almost not even fair. Like everybody I ever trained with art auctions, it wasn't fair because I go, they'd say, "Okay, go on the mic and say this, and I grab the fucking thing. I'd be like, "Hey, everybody," and I drop the mic, go, "Sex or chocolate," and walk away and be like, "Okay, you got the job." It was perfect. So I killed it. I went out there and they gave me 5 pieces to sell at my first live auction. I was subbing in with the main auctioneer on the ship because the Norway's a great ship, and a lot of money on it. The guys, they're kicked ass. Went on there's like, here's 5 pieces, sell, do that, auction them off so you get your chops, and we'll take it from there. I got 5 pieces. I sold 4 of the 5 pieces, and it was great. Everybody was like, "Oh, this fucking kid, he's got it. Give it to him. Let him go." But when you first start, regardless of how good you did in training, they always put you on the worst freaking ship, and it's for a reason. It's for a reason, and it makes sense. It's like, look, sink or swim.
You got to cut your teeth too. They're not going to give you the biggest and best ship when other people have been around for a while.
Exactly.
Working, right?
And you know what? I get that. When we were on the ships, we knew there was an order, the pecking order. You did your job, but you had to wait in line. There was a pecking order, a chain of command that you follow. Mm-hmm. And when your time comes, that was the thing. And so I got it. And I'd already been through all that other shit with what do you call it? But at least with this, I knew the money potential was really good. So they put me on a crappy ship, and I wasn't with Tracy in the beginning. I told Tracy at first, I said, "Let me do this, and then I'll let you know, so you don't feel like." And again, I don't want to force you in anything. I know we were in love, and she wanted to work together with me, but I also didn't want to be a dick. She was doing her own thing, and she was Tracy. So when I left Royal Caribbean, I got off the ship. It was a Thanksgiving cruise, and I got back, and it was Saturday that the ship came in, and it was a 3rd or something like that of December. And I called the Royal Caribbean, and the person wasn't available that I reported to, and I spoke to, and it was Linda Givens, I think I spoke to, and I said, Linda, listen, hey, this is Johnny Lavenier. He goes, listen, I've decided that I'm going to go a different direction. I just wanted to say, thank you very much. I got a letter I've sent, and I'm writing in, so it's official, but I just want to thank you very much. I wanted to give you plenty of notice. I'm supposed to go on the ship. Like, I was supposed to go on, the first cruise was the New Year's cruise. So if I was going to go, I was going to go on the New Year's cruise. So it was like 4 weeks away. I gave plenty of notice. But because it was in December, I got blacklisted from Royal Caribbean. Can you fucking believe that? Never had a, no written warnings or anything like this. Craziest shit that I've ever gotten into. And I never had any issues. I got blacklisted for that. And then, all I did was I left on December 3rd. I gave him 4 weeks notice, but it was December. And I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Wow.
Knowing they didn't say, hey, listen, you may want to, because, if that had been the case, I probably think I would have done the contract and said, look, I want to do a shortened version of it and then see what happened after that,
Right.
But because I didn't want to ever burn bridges with Royal Caribbean. I had a great experience. Everything was just fucking spectacular.
While you were on ships and stuff, what was your favorite ship that you worked on?
Again, tough. I mean, I know, I've been on 5 ships. I love the Sovereign because she was my first. I met a lot of wonderful people. Todd Cockley, Todd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, because I had such a great time on the Sovereign when working with Todd, with you, and it was a fantastic group of people on
wonderful
there. I
ship,
absolutely
dude.
loved it. Yeah,
Patty Beal and Robin
Patty
Selleck.
was great. Yeah.
Wayne Lawrence. There was different people from different crews. The purser department was spectacular. One of my favorite people of all time is a purser named Sam Evans, who I met on board ships.
He was just on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I love
Sam's
Sam
great.
Evans.
Yeah.
Sam is one of my favorite people. We actually worked together after ships with Flagship Games doing bingo. So
you worked for Bonnie Bingo.
Bonnie Bingo.
Yes, Bonnie Bingo.
So you worked with Rob Malden too.
I didn't work with Rob Malden.
Oh, was he already gone?
Yeah, I don't think he was there when I was there. I joined in 2002 when I finally got off ships. 2002 was the last time I worked on ships doing art auctions because I could always go back to it. And there's some. I mean, going from the art auctions, I ended up doing that. And it was good. I ended up fighting my way off the shitty ships, and I made some really good money, and it really worked out for me because it helped me it was the one time I actually had money still when I got off when I got off ships, it was cash. We did pretty well with it.
So what other ships did you work on then? Not just Royal ships, but you worked on.
I worked when I did the art auctions the first time. I worked on a ship called the Royal Odyssey. NCL had just bought it, and they ended up turning into the Norwegian Star. But I worked on it when it was still called the Royal Odyssey. It was an old crummy ship. That they were trying to stick it in certain runs, to be competitive or to be in the market, basically.
Hey, where was your favorite port?
Wow, favorite port. That's again. I love the Caribbean run, like the Eastern, Western, Southern. I love Bermuda. I'm too wishy-washy when it comes on. And the same with ships. It's just different places have different things for me, so I can find gems in all those places. I was very partial to the Monarch run. It was one of the great runs.
Probably my favorite run.
Yeah, me too.
Majesty is my favorite ship because that was my first. But that Monarch run, man, St. Martin, St. Thomas, Barbados, Antigua.
Martinique, it was fantastic. One sea day, which was beautiful. And it was the order that I went to. We started with Martinique and went from Martinique to Barbados, and it just seemed to get better and better and better. Antigua and St. Martin and St. Thomas. You couldn't go wrong. You had everything that you can get to. And we didn't work that much. And for crew staff,
for you, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That was the old Song of Norway run. That was the run that I started on. Sail out of San Juan, Martinique, Barbados, Martinique, and all that.
Did you guys do 7-day runs on the Song of Norway?
Yeah.
For that run, yeah, that's a great run.
Yeah, it was
You also,
great.
I mean, the thing is, those particular ships as well in the beginning, because I know we're Royal Caribbean fans from way back in the day. We've sailed on quite a few different styles of ships. We didn't sail on any of the older Royal Caribbean ones. We sailed on some of the older Cunard ones. We sailed on the Song of America, which was cool at the time. It was a big ship, and then the Sovereign, when it came out, we were like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing, before we saw the monstrosities that came afterward. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm fortunate. There's so many cool ships. I mean, the Monarch, I love the ship was such an easy run. The people were fantastic. I met my wife. Again, great purser staff, which, I think it works well with the cruise and entertainment staff. We're right across from each other. We're in the same battle lines. We drink at the same places. We do bingo together. We hook up sometimes, so it just, and it just seems to make sense. And, some of my favorite people,
My favorite thing to do in two of the islands, in Martinique was a French island, and I thought it was fun to go and buy a couple of bottles of wine and bring them home for vacation and give people. But you could go and buy, like, everybody knows, like, Chateau Lafite Rothschild is like the one of the biggest pricey bottles of wine that you can. But all my friends didn't know that, this was an off year or a crappy year, and it was just barely mediocre wine. So you get a bottle of this. All it said was Chateau Lafite Rothschild, but it was like, it was an off year, and it was like $19. So I'd buy like 3 bottles to give to my friends and stuff when I got home, and they were like, oh my God.
Wow, you're doing really good. Let's borrow money from them.
Wow. And then when we're in Jamaica, the Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, that was another thing. It was like, $80 a pound or whatever it was. And, we'd get it for like, $6 or something. And that was like, you were the gift giver when you got home. And, I had like a duffel bag full of single pound bags of that stuff. And
like Martinique, for us, for like the pursers, like when I worked in the back office, I could rarely go ashore in Martinique because it was a short port of call. It was they would sail like at 2:00 or something like that.
They're trying to get the fuck out of there as quick as possible. It was a mean place.
Yeah, so we worked 8 to 12. So I could rarely ever, like, I'd run off for very quick moment and come back. So I don't really remember Martinique all that well, just because I never really went ashore there.
Yeah, I remember I was playing like football frisbee in that park nearby the ship, but that was pretty much it. And Eric's right. We used to come back at 2:00. Usually we'd have like horse racing or something like that up by the pool deck, or something big, because it wasn't a sea day, but it was, we were leaving at 2. So, people were back and they were on the deck and drinking and stuff. And our thing was to keep them drinking, keep them busy, keep them, laughing and dancing and thirsty,
Yeah.
I remember we were a pretty full day there in Martinique, but our thing was somebody always had to go to the patisserie and get eclairs.
Nice.
There was always a purser assigned. It was usually an assistant purser that was off on that morning. And they're like, your job is to go into Martinique, go to the patisserie, get eclairs, bring them back to the ship as soon as possible. I
think I would have liked Martinique a lot better if I had eclairs.
Yeah, right.
They were fantastic. I mean, they were.
Like
that was to like Martinique, like Tortuga rum cake was to Grand Cayman.
Yeah, they were unbelievable, and they were fresh, and it was just it was just like getting them from France.
Man, it's awesome. Hey, really yummy. Johnny, what was your out of the whole time that you spent that you could think of? What was your most fond memory?
Wow, my most fond memory. There was so many. I was my friend Sean McCrory and Caroline McCrory, when they were married in St. Thomas at Blackbeard's Castle in 1993. I was best man at their wedding. That was a great day. That was so much fun. I'm trying to think what else. I loved my whole time on. I never really had a bad experience, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I worked on the Sovereign, the Monarch, the Nordic Empress, the Viking Serenade, Song of America, Majesty Shortly for a short period of time. But I knew everybody from over there. And I just met so many good people. I didn't have a bad experience. The only bad experience I had was later on with another cruise line, but it was just for a short period of time. I think it was my last contract, and I think I was ready. I was ready. But I mean, you just think about the people that I've met along the way. I mean, you can't even it take you a day and a half. But my favorite ships. I mean, they're all my favorite ships because I never had a bad experience. I've met some really, really good people from a lot of different places, and that's one of the cool things that that I think that I take out of it is that you learn so much about yourself, but you learn a lot about the world and how people work. And the coolest thing that I get from ships, and it's one of the things that, like, it's tough for me because I try to teach my kids. I try to talk to my kids like they're like little adults, and I try to tell them this is the experience that I had. But I forget sometimes to think about it and look at the experience through their eyes, that they don't get to see it. But we were on ships and the different nationalities, the different colors, the different religions, the different sexual orientations, the different politics, the different phobias. There's there's all kind of crazy shit. And yet we found a way every day and every night to get it done, and get it done in a way that was professional and done in a way that you could feel good about yourself. Like, I never felt shitty ever really about anything I ever did or said, on the line. It was all about bringing a kick-ass experience to people. And I, now when I became an art auctioneer, I can't always say that that's one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever really survive on it. I made good money, but I could have made really good money if I was a motherfucker. And excuse my French, but if I was like one of these scales, and I don't want to like call out anybody, but some of these people out there that say whatever they want to say to people, don't forget, like, hey, there's somebody else on the other end of that. That's a person. And I don't want to be telling anybody anything except for, like, look, do you like it? Can you afford it? That was my hook. And that's how I got people. I was straightforward. I didn't fuck around. I was like, do you like it? Can you afford it? And if that's the case, then put your hand up in the air right now and take it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Take it now because you'll regret it later. That's what I would say. That's about as bad as I get. But man, they tell you, at least when I got in later on, they tell you, oh yeah, tell them anything you want. This piece of art's going to be worth $1 million.
I sold cars for a while after ships and stuff, and it's kind of the same thing. Like,
yes, it is,
the car salesman, they will like tell you anything, show you anything. You want to see a number, there's car sales math. There's a whole course on how to do numbers and stuff. And I kept getting in trouble on trying to stick somebody in on a $50,000 van with leather seats, macked out everything, that were a couple with 4 babies and barely one paycheck. And I'm like, they're upside down before they even buy it. So but and I couldn't do that. I was like, okay, when we go in there and they say this is what you need to say. And they're going to come back with this, and this is what you're going to have to say. So that was me, and it didn't work too well.
Well, Johnny, I mean, I think everything you said is just great. I mean, that encapsulates really what I really got out of working on ships. I mean, I started out this podcast talking about what a bad day I had. But what I really like about doing this is hearing your story and remembering just how great it was every day on a ship. I mean, even though, I'm sure we had our trials and tribulations, but all these years gone by, what we remember is just all the great times and all the great stories and all the great people that we worked with, and just makes everything so much better.
And like there's different religions, races, colors, creeds, everything. And like we said earlier, like a mini podcast ago, we all laughed together, loved together, partied together. We talked about, politics or whatever, world politics or whatever. It always ended in, let's go to the crew bar and have a drink.
Exactly.
Not one time ended in a fight or stab or, but the sad thing, the weird thing was when you would come home, you would come home and see all the news, and everybody wanted to kill each other. It's like, I want to be back on the ship. Just get me back on the ship. I've only been home a week and I got 4 weeks to go. I want to go back on the ship because, like you said, everybody got along.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Well, I spent a lot of my time like traveling, I'm probably like Eric, I would spend every last damn dollar I had on me until I think I got serious with Trace. I think that's the first time I said, okay, like, we got to be serious, as a unit together. But I mean, at the end of the day, why the hell else are you going to go out there? Spend it all, make your, because you're going to make enough. You're going to get so much out of it. The experience that you're going to get, you're going to be that much better and that much more productive, I think, in life. I mean, it helped me a great deal. And it taught me a lot, I grew up as
changes you. It makes you grow as a person. It changes
does,
you.
and
You
for the
had,
better.
just that experience, however long you could spend a year on a ship, 5 years, 10 years, it changes you. It makes you grow. It makes you a better person. And, I think everybody, good, bad, and ugly, I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, no. To me, my first experience, my first person I met was Gary, but the first friend I had on ships was Todd Gockley. And to be honest with you, it was probably the greatest thing that could have happened to me personally going on the ship, because as you know, it is a very competitive business, and especially with guys, and you're talking about say the straight guys especially. There wasn't a whole ton of us, but there was when they were, we were like, okay, we're territorial, and I want to be the best looking guy. I want to go after the throne of my choice. I want to be I want to be Mufasa. That's what everybody wanted to be, was Mufasa. And I totally get it. So I get a guy who is, we had the smallest cabin. I think it was cabin was 1850 or 1856. It was a fucking broom closet. Okay. We had the smallest bunk bed area. And as you know, Todd is like 6'4". He's like 220 at the time. And I was all muscle bound dude. So we were two pretty big dudes in this room, diametrically different. I'm from Miami. I'm just crazy, Latin guy. And he's from Pennsylvania, and the best human being ever, dude. He was so good to me. He made sure he kept me out of trouble. He would tell me, these are the traps. Don't fall into them. Watch this person. They're not guiding you in the right direction. And then there was other people that were good. I was also very fortunate. Chip Collins, rest in peace. What a a beautiful guy. He was so good to me. Same type of thing. But when I was with Todd, it was great. Todd was, when growing up, I didn't have a lot of gay friends. Nobody felt free enough to be honest and open and say, hey, look, and that's one of the good things, that life has changed somewhat, and thank God for the better. But I didn't have that experience because people were afraid. I never had a problem with it because, to be honest, one of my favorite cousins is gay, and I never thought twice about it. But meeting Todd and being his friend, I just realized, you know what, dude, you got to open your eyes more and more and see all the great things out there. The things that you might be afraid of, you might just want to ask yourself, why am I afraid of this? And why don't I not just open myself up and be just like the best human being possible and just give everybody the opportunity to just be, And that was, again, the great thing about ships. It just seemed like everybody was cool. It didn't matter where you were from, what you thought, what you did, what you liked, what you didn't like. That was the beauty of it. And I came back and I was better for it. And I think, to be honest with you, it was a great experience. My daughter, my oldest, she's gay. I don't know how I would have reacted, had I not had the experience to just live and see. Because I think everybody at the end of the day is looking and going, dude, at the end of the day, love is love. And if you ask everybody, at the end of the day, they're going to say deep down, love is love, man. And, there's that's all there is to it. People are always afraid of what they don't know. But I thought personally that was another thing that I just grew as a human being. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. And the people, I mean, there's a million people I want to say their names, the Tony Kalinas of the world.
Don't do it, Stevie.
Yeah. This is a Stevie B.
Have you listened to? Yeah, have you listened to?
The Mike Murphys, the Murphs, the Bucky Herbs, the Chip Collins, the Stevie B, the Angelo, the best DJ in the Royal Caribbean Fleet. The Royal Caribbean Fleet. If you remember Angelo, he always used to tell everybody, "I'm the number one, disc jockey in the." God bless him, love him. There's so many people that I just, I was so glad I got to meet them. The Trudas, Chief Purser from the Song of, just some beautiful human beings that I'm so glad. Karen Mayberry, who, to this day, her and I are like close buddies.
Yeah.
Her husband.
Your first contract, you must have run into her or soon on the Sovereign. Is that where you met her too? Because I worked with her on the Sovereign at the same time. Yeah, Karen Mayberry.
Yeah, because I was on the Sovereign. Remember, I was my first ship, so I was there from '92, basically '93, because it was December. So all of '93, '94, Bucky came on, and him and I were like, dude, him and I together were like it was a force. And then Sean Feeney came, and it was Feeney, me, and Bucky together. And boy, dude, it was fantastic. Then they moved me on to the Monarch. They kind of split us apart. Feeney was kind of moving up. He was getting ready to go to the ACD spot. as well at the time. And Bucky was, he could never break through, it seemed like, and it's one of those weird things that I always shake my head at. Like, I always wonder, what would it happen if Royal Caribbean was just smart enough to say, let's give one of the most talented people in the history of our fucking company an opportunity. But granted, Bucky was, we were wild back in the day. Maybe, all the more, I don't know, I guess office work would have been a little bit different, difficult. And, we were all wild and crazy and party boys. But, guys like Bucky was the shit, dude. He was the most talented guy I ever saw, ever. He could sing, he could dance, he was great on the microphone. He could party like nobody's business and show up to fracking work every time. I've seen some crazy things in my life. One of them, I was working with Bucky. His parents were in town. I think it was 93 or 94. I forgot what it was. And Dennis Shortina was the cruise director. Uh-huh. And we'd gone out. His parents were in town, and we'd gone and partied on. I'm pretty sure it was in St. Thomas, and then we were making our way to San Juan, because remember we used to do that San Juan at night on the same night. So Bucky we'd gone on this cruise together the whole time, and he was just getting lit up. It was one of those, Jolly Roger type of things where you go on the cruise and you just get totally scored. Well, he looked absolutely zombied out, and I'll never forget. We're sitting in this Finian's Rainbow Lounge, and they're like, "Dude, you got to get help, get Bucky to the show." He was, So I run down there, make sure he's all showered up, he's ready to rock and roll, gets his suit. AJ helps as well. We get him to the lounge. His parents are in the lounge. The lounge is packed. We just had put together this show for Bucky to sing, and we had like the band, the orchestra, come in and actually play. So we had the horn behind them as well, and it was just this little variety show that they were trying out for the first time in between. And he looked like a zombie. And I'm telling you, like, he was laying straight out. Like, it seemed like he looked like a stiff board. And he was, he's a pretty fair-skinned guy, but he looked pretty white. And he had the kick-ass long hair, good-looking guy, kick-ass suit. But he looked like out of it. And I'm like, don't worry. Shortina's like, dude, is he going to make it? I'm like, don't worry, Dennis. I got this. Don't worry. He's going to make it. I'm telling you. The music started, and the music was Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Spinning Wheel. And if you guys know it, that really loud beginning entrance with the brass, that right. As soon as that music started, Bucky was on his feet.
He changed into a different
little
person.
Spin around that he did, his hand up in the air, all like perfectly posed, and he starts singing that real, soulful voice. What goes up? And I'm like, that. And I looked at everybody and said, that fucking guy is a god, man. He is the man.
We can't wait to get Bucky on here. So we've all got to gang up on Bucky and get him on here. But he's so busy with the Righteous Brothers. But
he is.
Man.
And again, it goes to show, he ended up being one of those type of dudes. There was another one who was ridiculous. Some of you should also get as well. It was very funny. Is J.D. Andrews.
J.D. I've talked to J.D. so many times. One of the original, what him and Bucky and Feeney did the
Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers. Yeah, that was so funny. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. That was so funny. Hey, Johnny, our time is – oh, wow. We are way over. See what happens when you're having fun? See what happens when you're having fun and so many memories start to grow and –
I talk a lot of shit.
You look down and it's like three hours later.
I apologize, guys, and hopefully I didn't bore you. If you guys ever want to get a little bit of insight to some of the other cruise lines, I had some notes actually I put aside, but we just got going over here. I did work for some of the other cruise lines, and one of them in particular, NCL, there's some really good stories in there as well that I wouldn't mind maybe doing and maybe hooking you up with some people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Save those because we're gonna have you back on one of these days.
We'll have to do another round, and if you're gonna name a lot of people, go ahead and listen to Stevie B's deal first, and at the last of it, because I'll have to. He was like, I got to shout out to 15 different people, and I'm like, all right.
15. It was more like 50.
Every person that he met. It was
like an Oscar award speech.
That's what I want. I'm going to send you the 150 names, and I want them scrolling down. When Brad's going, okay, Johnny, it's time to go. Third grade teacher.
The music is going to play you out. Yeah, the music is going to play you out.
Yeah. I want you to have the words, and I want you to say, okay, Johnny, get the fuck off the stage.
We're just going to have to mute your microphone, and it was.
Guys, thank you so much. I really
It was
appreciate
so
the trip
fun.
down memory lane, and hopefully my wife is not too mortified, and she'll let me in
No.
the rest of the house. It was so
It's
nice meeting you,
great
Brad.
seeing you
Eric,
again,
dude.
Joey.
You and I
Great.
You and I got some stories. I'm sure we
Yes.
partied our asses off. We got into some trouble back then, the Sovereign. You and I.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
sure.
fantastic. Oh, I loved
Thank you,
it.
my brother. It was great.
So
Brad,
good
again,
to
nice
see you.
meeting you. And call me anytime you want me to come back and say something again. Like I said, I got some really good NCL stories too.
Awesome. We'll do it.
Cool.
Definitely. We'll
That's
take
great.
you up on it. We'll get
All
a
right,
hold
fellas.
of you and we'll have you back. But thanks for coming on. Enjoyed every bit of it and can't wait to hear more.
One last thing, guys, people out there. The only thing, I'm not going to get political. Vote. That's all I'm going to say. God damn it, go out there and vote. God bless America. I love you guys.
Bye, Joey.
See you, buddy.
Yeah,
See ya.
Bye.
All right, we'll do. Take care.
Oh, wow.
No, he's great. I had so much fun working with him because he was just like that Energizer bunny. I mean,
He
just
was.
like,
He was all
Yes.
energizing the
Dude,
entire
I'm grabbing a beer.
time.
I got to have beer.
Well, I'm not going to stay much. I haven't had dinner, so I'm probably going to go get dinner pretty soon.
I haven't either. I've got a piece of salmon. I can't wait to
I got some sushi at
try
the store.
some stuff. Oh man, that's awesome. What sushi? What's your sushi? What's your